You should be able to unmute yourself.
Jai Kumarji. It's a beautiful description what it is. And then both the slokas are very impressive. Couple of points I would like to bring attention to our group. The first one, when you started about sun and earth, before the science evolved, everybody was thinking that sun is moving around the earth. In fact, our scientist, great scientist in Hindu Sanatana Dharma, Aryabhatta is one of the first in the history. He did point that not the sun revolving, earth is revolving. That's very fascinating scientific discovery. And if you ask the child, and standing near the ocean, right in the ocean, look at this one, sun rising. Yeah, it does believe that. Then if you say that no, sun is the same thing, we are the one who are moving, earth is the one is moving, it's hard time to understand that one, right? Like that, until the maturity, until we know how the science is evolved, like that. Then second point is when you are describing Rama is the son of Dasharatha, and then king of Ayodhya, and then you are all. But the same thing, if somebody asks me, who am I? It's a $1 million question. Then if I say that I'm a physician, no, I don't. And because that is my profession. And I live here, yeah, it shows that I'm living in some place. But really, what I am, and that is soul searching. And that's what is leading all this one. Bhagavad Gita and then our spiritual satsang and everything, leading to know who we are. That's still, for this one, still a long way to know, understand that who am I, and then what is the purpose, and then that is still, I'm trying to gather the information.
Sure.
And the third point is beautiful. Yes, Sarva Bhutani, when the last two slokas, so nicely explained. Also back in second chapter, also when he's explaining Atma, Krishna touches what is Atma. Atma is indestructible, is all pervasive, and then he repeats here again. And then in addition to that, he adds that Atma is, you need to look everything, everywhere, pervasive, and then also we are also there. That is a few points I want to bring it. And then so you explained a lot of clarifications, clarity I'm getting. Thank you very much, Jai Kumarji.
Thank you, Rameshji. Yeah, so even if you say, if somebody asks us who am I, suppose you say, oh yeah, I am son. If I say I'm daughter, then that's relative definition, etc. Then slowly we come closer. Oh, I know who I am. I am a human being. I'm a human being means what? Okay. With rest, you have seen a lot of species around, and so using species as a basis, then you will say, oh my. Then again, I'm looking at my body and the way I'm walking in two legs and all that. That's called human being, or Homo sapiens, to use a different word. Species. That also is based on. That's also the relative. Based on a particular categorization, I am a human being. Okay.
How about telling that I am pure soul or Atma? That Atma is everywhere, right? It is not, I am pure soul. I was thinking one day if somebody asked me, is it the right answer?
So, yeah. So, The question is, what do you understand when you say pure soul? And what is he or she going to understand when you make the statement? That is where the problem is.
Yes.
Okay. Okay.
That
So
also
yes.
explains that why I'm telling pure soul means I don't hurt anybody. I don't. I think good about others and then try to do good things. It's all relative again. It's not the without the attachment of superlative or explaining. That's also very difficult to do that.
The Shastram says the person like you who has been doing good all the time and wants to do good is also pure soul. And the person who is a serial killer is also pure soul, is also the same soul that you're talking about. Correct?
Yes.
Pure soul
Yes.
only, that person also.
Yeah.
Therefore, this is Shastram. This is why we study the Shastram. Correct.
Yeah. See, depending upon the circumstances, like a butcher, he kills the animals for living. Then he says, I'm doing my karma. I'm also pure soul. It's a very relative again.
Right. Right. So all those are based on actions and based on dharma, which is relative. They're all based on the vyavahara of the body and the mind. And we're talking about that which is the satyam of the body and the mind also. Right? So good. Prasad. Yeah, okay. Bhagyashriji, you were saying something?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I say, I'll say after that. That's okay.
Okay. No, go ahead. You're unmuted, so go ahead.
Okay. When you ask an Aparoksha Jnani, who are you? What does he say?
So who are you means I'm Brahma, I'm Atma. He can say. So it depends on where the question is coming from. He has a lot of options, right? And so there is only me everywhere. Okay, there is only Atma everywhere. But again, it depends on the context. That doesn't mean the person has forgotten that that person is a male or a female living in a particular place, and all that is still there very much. So Satchidananda Atma. Okay, that is the basic here. Satchidananda Atma. Aham Satchidananda Atma. Okay. That statement is accepted. Means that is the correct statement. Aham. That is what is I. But did you have food? The next statement, if you ask, Swamiji, we've been talking for 2 hours. You must be hungry. Did you have food? Can I make something for you? If you say, then what should he say? Atma is hungry? No. Atma cannot be hungry. The stomach is hungry, no doubt. And so, therefore, now you are changing. You yourself are changing the definition. Who are you? You asked before. Now you are saying, are you hungry? After all the explanation. That means what? You yourself are shifting the definition of who you are.
Oh, yeah. Okay.
Correct? Yeah. So Atma is understood means then all other transactions based on context. Based on context. Yeah.
He used the word aparoksha, and then there is the opposite to that is paroksha, right?
Yes.
Could you please explain? I forgot. I listened somewhere.
This is line 2 of the shloka we're studying now. So tasyaham na pranashyami sachamena pranashyati. This aparoksha and paroksha will come. What is it? Briefly, I'll tell you what it is. Paroksha means away from me. Aparoksha means not away from me. Briefly, think about that. Previously, my idea was Bhagavan is away from me. Devudu is away from me. God is away from me. Now what?
God is in me.
Now there is no difference between me and Ishvara. Means God used to be a paroksha. Now God is aparoksha. Not remote, not separate.
Is it similar to pratyaksha?
No,
something.
Pratyaksha
just is in front of you.
Yeah, Pratiksha is in front, etc. Correct. There is remoteness. Pratyaksha is Paroksha only.
Okay.
But Paroksha can be Apratyaksha also. Something very, very far away.
Yeah,
Indraloka is
like
not
God.
visible to me. Yeah,
Yeah.
that is Paroksha.
Thank you, Jay.
Prasad. Yeah,
It's very
sure.
nice.
Prasad.
Jay Kumar, we mentioned about Praptasya Prapti, and you also mentioned the Apraptasya Prapti, right? So in case of, in Shastra, is a reference to Nivritasya Nivritti, Anivritasya Nivritti, anywhere, like what you do not have, I mean, you're not, you never had, right? What you're losing or removing is what you never had. So Nivritasya Nivritti. So is there any Nivritasya, a reference to that?
Anivrittasya nivrittihi. Is that what you're asking?
That's what I'm asking, yes.
So nivrittasya nivrittihi means removing what you don't have.
Yeah, what you remove is what you never had. Right?
What you remove
So
is what you
similar
never
to,
had.
yeah.
Okay.
Similar to Praptasya Prapti, Nivrittasya Nivritti. Yeah. That's
Yeah.
enlightenment, if you say.
Yeah. So, yeah, I've not heard about Nivrittasya Nivritti. I've not heard of that. And Nivritti, generally, we talk about Nivritti as the Shreyo Markaha, as opposed to praise. That is what Nivritti is. Pravritti versus Nivritti. And so, no, I've not heard about Anivritti. Yeah. Maybe it is there in some other Shastra. Maybe Bauddha Shastram or something. Maybe Jaina Shastram or something. Yeah.
Second question is, I mean, this is mainly aside from the dualistic people. So we talk about most about Satyam Jnanam Anantam, which is Nirguna Brahma. Now, without qualities, what exactly is Nirguna Brahma, right? Because they do not accept Nirguna Brahma as such. So how we can give answer to, let's say, Visishtadvaitin people? Because when you talk about Nirguna Brahma, hey, without quality, how can I experience that something which doesn't have qualities, gunas?
Yeah. So the how can I experience comes from a duality mindset, because I'm conditioned to always experience something. Some object must be there. Something must be there. Some music must be there. Some food must be there. Something must be there. And that should create an experience in me by which I judge everything in this world, and I judge myself also. Okay. So how can, therefore you told me about Atma and Brahma, and therefore Nirgunam Brahma. How do I experience Nirgunam Brahma? Hey, I just told you that Nirgunam Brahma is not an object, it is the subject you. They are the experiencer, the truth of the experiencer is Nirgunam Brahma. Nirgunam Brahma is there in all experiences. It is not an object for you to taste and experience. When you taste an object, experience an object, Nirgunam Brahma is there, you. And when you don't experience anything, Nirgunam Brahma is there, you. When you are very sad, Nirgunam Brahma is there, you. This is the catch. So we have to shift our mindset from having to experience, having to experience, having to experience. This is a mindset. Our mindset, we are just conditioned to go after something. Go after something and experience it. This is the mind. This is the mindset. This whole mindset is changed by Advaita Vedanta, saying that the experiencer is you. You are the experiencer. And finally, the whole world also is not separate from you. That is how it's going to come. And therefore, for a person who asks, how do I experience Brahma? I will say, no, you can't experience Brahma. That is one answer I will give. because he's asking for an object. Show me the object Brahma. I want experience. Your stories are very good. I want to now experience Brahma. So no, you can't experience Brahma. Not available. Sorry. Or all everywhere available. That also I can say. But he won't understand if I say all this. So I'm saying not available. Brahma is not available for experience. You are Brahma is the content of the experience, sir. Sir. Like that we can say. So that's how it works, Prasadji.
Yeah, they say subject is also, when you say subject, then without guna, what is the subject you are talking about, right?
Say that again, please.
No, when you say subject, we know that as an Advaitin, I can say that, hey, we are now talking about subject, not the object, right? Now the subject is me, that is my pure consciousness. But well, when you say it is subject, now without gunas, how can you define a subject itself?
Correct. Good. So that now you are thinking. So that we have to make the person think. If he talks like that, like the way you are talking, no problem. We can keep on talking. Yes. Then I will say, correct. Since you have recognized that subject is opposed to the object, which means subject is also finite entity. Yeah. Then I will say, correct. This is the initial step. Next step, I will tell you, subject and object really doesn't exist separately. There is really no subject and object. Just like Ramesh was saying, who am I means what? I'm a doctor and all you can say. Initially you say I'm a doctor, I'm so-and-so, I'm a citizen of this country, that country, all that you can say. Until you come to Atma, then all these definitions are unacceptable. Not acceptable. Because it's not Atma, is not some point. And point means you can say located somewhere, but location also is gone. Therefore, you have to sarvatra. Both shlokas have the word sarvatra. Sarvatra has to be brought in. Everywhere. Sarva vyapakatvam has to be brought in. Sarva vyapakatvam is there means there is no subject, no object. Correct? So I will make the person think and ask a question. I won't give the final answer right away. Correct? You know, when you teach children and all, good teachers do this. Good parents do that. You also do that, right? Parents do that. Children ask something, and then you say, okay, give an answer. And then after some time, the child will come back and say, what? It's not working out. Yeah, good. I'm glad you figured out. No, you have to go a step further. It's a long way to go. And keep the child busy, trying to figure out. So like in our Taittiriya Upanishad. Okay. Vrigurvaivārunihi varunam pitaram upasasara adhihi bhagavo brahmeti. Bhrigu, the son of Varuna. Bhrigu approached his father, Varuna, and said, Adhihi bhagavo brahmeti. Hey, Bhagavan, addressed him respectfully. Adhihi Brahma. Tell me, teach me about this Brahma. I've heard so much about it. And then he says things and then says, go figure out. And then Annam Brahmeti Vyajanat. I figured it out. This body is Brahma. This body. Then some more discussion happens. And then Satapo Tapyata, Satapas Tapva. Then he went back and did some more tapas. Means some more Chittanam he did. And then he said what? And then Pradho Brahmeti Vyajanat. No. Body is not Brahma. Can't be Brahma. Pranam is Brahma. Like that he goes. And then no, mind is Brahma. Then he says, no, mind cannot be Brahma. I am the observer of the mind. Therefore, mind cannot be Brahma. And so on and so forth. Okay. And then comes to Atma. Like that, very beautiful. Panchakoshātītaha. So is being described in that. So like that, Prasad, when somebody asks questions like that, we have to understand where that person is coming from. Number one. We are not trying to, you don't give the final answer may not be understandable. Correct. So we have to be careful.
Actually, somebody is not asking. Actually, I'm trying to see the what are the criticisms of Visishta Advaita from Ramanuja, Sri Ramanuja versus the Advaita. So this is one of the main onslaught, like, okay, Nirguna. Now, because subject for them is Narayana, which is Saguna Brahman. So that is where they differ. Okay, what is Nirguna Brahman? Right? Without quality, I mean, you cannot say Nirguna Brahman.
Nirganam doesn't exist at all. Your Nirgunam Brahman is a useless Brahman. I am not interested in your useless Nirgunam Brahman, which has no qualities. At least my Rasagulla has gives me some qualities. You are telling Nirgunam Brahma, it has no qualities, an insipid little thing, and it is there. If you're sad, it is there. If you're happy, it is there. You're telling me is a waste, complete waste. Correct? That is why Vishishta Advaitis they can't come anywhere near Advaita Vedanta. They can't, they won't appreciate. No, some from Vaishnavas are all there in our class, I know that. But it's good, we should have this kind of discussion, correct?
Yeah.
And for them, Kannan, you have to say Kannan, even Krishna is not a good word for them. Kannan, in Tamil Nadu, if you say Kannan, the rasa, you have to bring that rasa, otherwise all this Advaita Vedanta and all won't work. They will just run away. These fellows are crazy people. And so you have to tell all the leelas must be there. And he came like this, he did that, and then the flute, how he held the flute also should be described properly. All this is very important. Gunam is very important, Prasadji. Gunam, if you take that Gunam out, you will be out. That's all. So no chance. All Sagunam only. All beautiful. And then therefore, finally, I'll be with Vishnu and then Vishnu Padam and all. Very important. So correct, you're right. Nirgunam is, I know, they cannot handle Nirgunam.
They refer to 13th chapter, Kshetram and Kshetrajna. So,
Yeah.
In order to, criticize Advaita Vedanta.
Correct. So when you, yeah, exactly. So how do I experience Nirgunam Brahma? That experience is very important. Experience is important for everybody, no doubt. But hey, this Satyam is so important. So
And actually, there is a explanation somewhere. In order to pacify the contemporary Buddhists at that point of time, so jnana has been put forward. That's how, of course, in fact, the Vyavaharika and the Paramarthika has taken from Buddhist philosophy of Nagarjuna. So it's just to pacify the Buddhists because they were with jnana but not with bhakti at that point of time. So Shankaracharya has put forward the Nirguna Brahman based on to pacify Buddhists. That's the type of argument comes from Vishishtadvaitins. I don't know how much is
that, so yeah. So finally, all this is for us. Is for me. Okay. So we have to not get carried away by what somebody said also. What Shankara said is okay. Shankara also lived and all that. He said a lot of things. But finally, we have to figure out how it applies to me at this moment. Correct? Does this make sense? Is it going to make a difference in my life? This we have to ask. Each of us has to ask. Correct? And who argued, when it was presented, all that may be there. There must be some truth in that. Shastram is meant for me. Vedas is meant for me. I am not meant for the Vedas. Bhagavan is meant for me. I am not meant for Bhagavan. If somebody says Bhagavan will be unhappy if I steal money, I will stand up and ask him, if I can upset Bhagavan if I steal, then I don't want that Bhagavan. That means I can make Bhagavan upset. I can upset so many people. My father is upset with me. Mother is upset. All my brothers and sisters are upset with me. My children are always upset with me. And now I can upset one more guy. The big guy also I can upset. Correct? Big guy also I can upset. Means what? Who is greater? I am greater or he is greater? If I can upset Bhagavan, who is greater? Bhagavan cannot make me happy. So he is useless. And on top of that, I can make him upset. Therefore, who is greater? I am greater. That is my argument. So we have to come down to the brass tacks. We have to come down here and really question our ideas of Bhagavan and everything. Correct? So this going and coming and all that, we have to just analyze it threadbare. And so that finally comes down to that. And so, yeah, this I've heard that before. Shankara has talked about, but he talked about because there was no Buddhism before, there was no need to talk about all this. Then Buddhists came and say Shunyavada. And then so Shankara had to come up and say, okay, here are the arguments, Bhashyam and all required. Because until then taken for granted, then Bhashyam is required. So he had to write and argue and things like that. Yeah. That's the way I think. This is the way I process all these things, right? So think about it. Good to think along these lines.
But Advaita is actually giving explanation from the scientific world. That way, there's only a school of thought which can actually take science into in its fold to explain things as many of the, particularly the hard problem of consciousness, things like that, where they are struggling. What is consciousness from the materialism and all that? So I think Advaita can give the answers to those type of questions compared to Visishta Advaita. So
yeah, absolutely. Advaita will stand the test of time, I think. No doubt about that. Because it's using reason, okay, reason. And therefore, we don't have to justify heaven and all that. If somebody says there is heaven, okay, let it be there. Somebody says heaven is not here, it is there somewhere else. I think the location has changed. That is also okay. We don't have any problem with all these things. And so that's because coming down to consciousness, down to Atma. So yeah, I think so. I think it will definitely stand the test of time.
yeah. Thank you.
Thank you. Any other questions? Chat box, there are a couple of messages. Okay. All right. Good. So if any of you want to stay back after satsang, please do. Vijay wanted to meet. Let's Vijay, is there anything to discuss while I'm here?
Yeah, Guruji, your suggestion on how the Gita Jayanti, what you suggest we should do, any ideas from your side, and then we can further deep dive.
So, see, I thought we can definitely chant the 6 chapters. We've already studied 6 chapters. So it will be a somewhat of a longer session, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Okay. Which is less than a third of the Bhagavad Gita. So we can do it in an hour, 15 minutes, I think. I don't think it'll take that long. And no more than 1.5 hours. So if you're all willing to do that, I think we can have that session. And maybe add some other shlokas from other chapters, few shlokas, just to complete it. It's one possibility.
Okay.
We can do that.
Okay.
And the second question is, do you want to chant together or do you want to chant in repetition mode? That's something you want to think about. Okay.
So repetition means time will be longer because we
double the time.
Double
Yeah.
the time. Yeah.
Double the time.
Lead and follow. Okay.
Yeah. If most people say, yeah, I think we can slowly chant at least, not fast, slowly. I mean, we're going to moderate pace so that everybody can join. Then I think we can all join together, chant together. So, Ashocyanan Vashochastvam Prajnavadamscha Bhashase Gata Sunscha Nanushocanti Pandita. So if everybody can handle that, then we can do it together. It'll be good practice. Those who are having difficulty chanting also will end up, by the end of the Gita session, they'll say, oh, I can also chant.
True.
Yeah.
That's a good idea.
Yeah. We can do it. There's no rushing and all that. There's not a speed contest. So is that all right, Vijay?
Yeah. Makes sense. And we'll do it on 14th itself. It's Tuesday, right?
Yeah, 14th we can do. 14th is fine.
Okay.
Majority will be able to make on 14th, Tuesday morning, IST.
All request, can we start at 6 o'clock?
Nekmaji, we have Sanskrit class Tuesday.
Yeah, Sanskrit class. Okay. Which one? Sasyam?
Sasyam 1, Sasyam 3.
So can we make a proposal to the teacher to shift the class?
Please.
Okay. All right.
Nekmaji, locally here in Columbus, we are also doing Gita Jayanti on the 14th. So I think from 6 p.m. to maybe 9 p.m. or 9:30 p.m. our time will be chanting the whole Bhagavad Gita. So
Okay, Tuesday evening, you're
Indian
obviously
are also going to be in it.
Gita Jayanti. Okay.
But for them it will be Monday evening. Our Tuesday morning will be Monday evening.
Correct. Yeah, that's
Okay.
yeah. Tuesday
Yeah,
morning
yeah,
should
not
be.
It will be Monday evening.
Oh, you want to do Tuesday morning your time? Okay.
Correct.
That should be fine.
So Monday evening, your time, are you occupied
Yeah.
with something? That is the question.
I think that should be okay. Yeah, I thought it's going to be Tuesday evening our time. So.
Yeah. So with
Maybe
this thing, what happens?
should be
Because
okay.
there's two time zones and all, most people will be doing 2 Gita Jayantis,
Yeah.
2 Ramayana Paranam, 2 this, 2 that. Everything is 2. Duality, you know. So it's good. We get a chance to do it 2 times. Nice.
We are also doing in the evening, Guruji, full Parayanam.
Ah,
Tuesday evening, 5 to 8 p.m.
yeah, Tuesday evening, full Parayana.